So let's talk about Percy's bar and how she came to be coming into the Ashland off without a prep.
She's been training awesome. We had envisioned maybe trying to run her once before the Ashland, but we had such a bad weather here in Kentucky. We missed some days training and just didn't kind of feel right. So I talked to Gatewood, and I said, what about if we just kind of trained up to the Ashland, and we kind of came up with plan B on how to get that done, and giving her some stiff works here, and she seems to really have turned the corner from 2 to 3. She's filled out a lot. I'm really happy with the way she's coming into the race. In an ideal world, you'd probably want to prep, but at the same time, it's a long year, and it might be a blessing in disguise.
Is there something about the way that she trains that enables her to pull that off?
Yeah, I think that I think the biggest thing is that she's at Keeneland, a track that she's familiar with. She obviously finished first in the Alcibiades, crossed the finish line first in the Alcibiades, so she's familiar with the configuration of the race. She's broke her maiden here as well, so I think that the track and just being at home and her breezes. She's not a big. She has put on a lot of weight from 2 to 3, but she's not a big, heavy filly that requires a lot of training. So I think that's an advantage. She's very light on her feet, athletic. So all those things you don't have to really train and get a race into them like some fillies that are maybe heavier and need a lot of training.
So how are those works going?
She's bullet worked every time, so they're going really well. She's doing it all within herself, but when you look at the clock, she's working fast. So that's all you can ask of her. I'm really happy with the way she looks and the way she's feeling and the way she's acting. So, obviously it's gonna be a tough ask to jump right into grade 1, but she's proven that she is, at that level as a 2-year-old. So we're just hoping as a 3-year-old, if we get a little bit of improvement, that we should be in good shape.
What are you seeing in terms of her improvement physically?
She's filled out. She's gained muscle tone. She's a very long filly. So this year I've noticed that she's put weight across her top line and her back, and also her rear end and hind end and gasking is all filled out very well, and even her neck's kind of strengthened up. So I definitely am seeing, what we had hoped for, because she, when you look at her last year, you're like, man, if this filly really fills out, she could be something special. And physically, I think I've seen that. So we're excited.
What was the special quality you saw in her early?
Just more than anything, she's very athletic. She has a good stride. She covers a lot of ground when she moves. But also, in addition to her physical attributes, her mental capacity is very good. She does everything well. If you want her to gallop slow, she'll gallop slow. She's easy to train. She's, sweetheart in the barn. She just does everything you ask of her. So, sometimes the fillies, especially the good fillies, have a little quirkiness that you have to work around. And she doesn't have that at all. She's just, automatic. We've shipped her around the country. She's showed up, and, she's very easy to be around and easy to handle.
Back to her training, whatever you envisioned how it would look leading up to training her up to this race, has she outperformed your expectations?
Yeah, I would say so, a little bit in her works. When you watch her work, it is kind of, it's kind of, a couple of them have kind of taken your breath away how well she's worked. That being said, working and racing are different, but I am seeing, I don't have any races to go by as a 3-year-old, but I am seeing improvements in the way she's training as a, from the way she trained as a 2-year-old to the way she's trained as a 3-year-old.
Street Beast in the UK Health Club, Transylvania. Tell me about the races at Turfway and what you saw there.
Obviously he ran a really good race in the Leonidas. The horse that was second to him came back and was second and then won the Ruby. So the form was validated. In his race in the Battaglia, he hit the gate really hard and kind of fell back, and then not anybody's fault, they ended up springing the latch. I don't think there was enough time to really kind of. It would have been nice if he could have kind of gathered himself after that, or even, maybe if there was more time, you would have backed him out and kind of checked him out. He came out of the race fine, but I do think that is an excuse. So we're kind of just drawing a line through that because that's very unsimilar to how he's run all his other races. He's very professional. He runs well every time. And that race, he just, it just wasn't him. So, he did hit the gate. I've watched the race a few times now, and he hit the gate really hard. So we're just kind of taking that as, why he didn't perform up to his normal standard that day, and we're going to try him back on the grass, here, and it's exciting to try. He just worked this morning, had a good work, just maintenance, easy work. So looking forward to get him back on the grass and seeing what he can do.
If things had gone better in the Battaglia, would he have been in the Ruby instead of this?
No, the kind of what we were kind of thinking is that's why we initially we had thought Leonidas, Ruby, and skip the Battaglia, and then talking to Devant Latham, the owner, you know, they wanted to give him a chance, which, you know, all 3-year-olds deserve at that stage, is to try him on the dirt and see if he could have, you know, Derby potential. So we were thinking that if he had won the Battaglia, then we could run in the Bluegrass, was kind of the thinking at that point, with the backup plan that if it didn't go well, we could always run in the Transylvania. So we're kind of to plan B on him as well. But you know, I think he's shown that he has an affinity for the turf, and you know, maybe we'll try him on the dirt at some point, but I think at this point we'll keep him on the grass for now.